So in this video, I'm going to walk you quickly through the advanced filters feature within Dynamics 365 for Sales. And it's a really powerful means of searching the system. So let's go into the system and I'll show you what I mean. I'm actually in a contacts area at the moment. And the two things we're interested in are these buttons here, edit filters, edit columns. Now, I'm in contacts, but this is universal across all the different record types in the system. So if I look at leads, I've got exactly the same thing. If I look at opportunities, I've got the same thing there. But let's go back to contacts and let's show how this works. I'm actually going to start from an active contacts view to begin with. And if I click on edit filters, you can see it's inherited a filter already because we're in the active contacts view. So depending on what view I start with, it's going to give me some filters to begin with. If I don't want those filters, I can just delete all filters. That's not going to delete it permanently, but for the sake of building your query here, it's just giving you a blank slate to work from. So now we can begin. So let's build our query, and I've got this add button, and if I click on that, it's giving me some options. So add a row is effectively add a field that is on the contact record or the record from the view I'm in at that moment in time. Add a group. This is typically where we need to build OR statements, and I'll show you how to do that later. And add from a related entity. So in other words, we might want to query from some records that's held not on the contacts but on a related record type. So we're going to show you how to do that. So if I add a row to begin with, so keep it simple, and what we want to do is identify people that are in the city that, so there, when I click on that, I've got all the contact fields available to me. I can scroll down those, or I can start typing and those will appear. Then I've got an operator, which is, it's defaulted to equals, but I've got other options here as well, and those options vary depending on the field type you've chosen. And then I've got the option of selecting a value, so I'm going to say Seattle. Very limited data set, it's all test data in here, so I'm quite limited in what I can show here. And actually I want people who've got an email address, so if I start typing email, it's already picked that up. And I don't want equals this time, I want contains data. So if I now apply that query, now I can build up as many rows and lines as I want, and these are what we call ANDs. So it's in the city of Seattle and they've got email. If I apply this now, that filters down that view, so that's run that query. Now this other button is quite important here, edit columns. Columns are these items. We've only got 3 columns appearing at the moment, but if I want to change that, I can edit the column, and then I've got the option of, I can delete columns from this, by the way, or I can add columns. So if I want to add columns, that's again giving me the list of records that are held on this contact record. But again, I could go to related records, and it's related parent records in this particular case, if I wanted to show some data that's held there. But let's say I want to add city to this. I close that off. It's added it to the bottom, but if I wanted that to appear elsewhere, I could drag and drop these around and apply them. And now I've got those 4 columns. So filters and columns kind of work side by side. So that's our super basic query to begin with. Now, if we go into this, let's say we wanted something that was a little bit more advanced, and we'll talk about OR statements here now. So let's say I wanted people in Seattle and in Redmond. So if I added a row, and again I want city, and I'm going to put equals Redmond, and if I queried that now, nothing's going to come up because they can't be simultaneously in Seattle and Redmond. We can't. So we need to go back, and what we can do is we can group those together just by ticking these boxes, and we can say Mike, a group. I've grouped them together now, and I'm going to turn that into an OR. So they're in the city of Seattle or Redmond, and they've got emails. So if I apply that now, you can see we've got some Redmond records appearing. If I go back to my filters, I could have done that from scratch simply by adding that as a group, but I've kind of retrofitted it, but it's exactly the same principle. Now, let's say I want to also use in my query some data that's held on a related record. So let's say we want from the parent account of this contact, I only want records where the parent account has got a certain number of employees. So what I need to do is choose the record type. So I've got all the record types on the system that I've got access that are related to this particular record, in this case contacts. I can choose the record type. Again, same sort of principle. I choose the field, and I've got one at some stage here called number of employees. I choose that. I can select my operator, and I'm going to say that's greater than 100 employees. So let's apply that. That filters that down. I could, through my edit columns and related columns of parent records, add that to my view. I'm not going to do that because we're trying to do this nice and quickly. The one thing I can now do is I've got my active contacts. I've got that asterisk displaying there. So it's telling me this is a temporary view. But if I can save that. So all I do is click on that view, save as a new view, give that a name. Let's call that Richard test. Save that. Click save, and then that is saved, and you can see that appears in my list of views that are available to me with a little sort of person icon to represent the fact it's a personal view. So that's a quick lightning tour around advanced filters. They're really, really powerful. There's a lot you can do with them. If you can start to master them, you can pretty much get any information you want out of the system. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If you need any help with Dynamics, please see the links below, or if you've got suggested content ideas, please see the links below. Anyway, thanks very much for your time today, and hopefully see you again soon.